Brian Palavai Far here with Anton Krupicka on La Palma for the 2013 Transvulcania Ultramarathon. How's it going, Tony?
It's going well. Been here, I guess, 3-4 days now, and kind of getting over the jet lag and excited to race.
Adjusting to La Palma time?
Yeah, adjusting to La Palma time. And I don't know, I guess we're 7 hours different from mountain time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's it like being here this year? Last year you were here, but not racing.
Yeah, more stressful, I guess. I don't know. You know, when you're here, it's just like last year was sort of like a vacation. I was just like, oh, it's awesome. I'm on an island and, you know, got to participate in the conference and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And but this year, it's like I'm here to compete and like race, and there's always a little more edge to that than, you know, you're just kind of worried about how you're feeling all the time.
You really are treating this as a focus race. You skipped Tarawera to make sure you didn't get injured. And
I mean, I wasn't ready to Tarawera. I'd had this hip thing kind of over the winter, and there was just no way I was going to run 100 kilometers on it. Like I wasn't ready at all for Tarawera. Yeah, so this, yeah, I would say it's a focus race. It's just, but it is the first one of the year too. All of my races this year, I feel like, are pretty high profile, like deep fields, and so most of my races are, I guess, focus. I don't do the whole training race thing, you know. Yeah. And while I wouldn't say that I'm like 100% race fit at this point, I'm feeling pretty good about my fitness, and I'll be more fit in July. But you know, that's the way it goes.
As we all will.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
Sorry, how the Southern Hemisphere, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've really had some hip problems there, but you've had a pretty long set of training for you.
Oh yeah. No, I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, really, since even like a year ago, I guess, you know, I was injured here a year ago, and since then, this past year has been pretty good. Just a few little things here and there, and I don't know. I'm the kind of guy, like, if I'm injured, I take time off and I don't try and race on it and that sort of thing. A lot of people will kind of run through stuff, and that's just not my. I don't know. I want to be healthy, so. You know, I'll skip a race here and there if I'm not feeling 100%.
Having been here last year, you've seen that. I mean, there's a 8,000-foot climb, but quite a runnable one.
Yeah.
How do you feel in terms of, like, in the last year, or even longer than that, you know, you've been sort of doing a lot of mountain stuff, bagging longs, peak, and all that. How do you think your running fitness is right now?
It's good. It's probably the best it's been in the last 2 years, like pure running fitness. Because for the past month, most of April, I was really focusing on that, like actually, you know, doing climbs that are runnable and doing long runs that are runnable the whole way, and that makes a big difference. Like, someone was asking me recently about, you know, like Leadville last year, and I came in with like no real running fitness, you know, and I was like, yeah, right now I'm more fit to run a race like Leadville than I was in August last year for sure. You know, it's just because I've just been doing, you know, true running. But I've been doing plenty of, I mix it up, you know, a lot of scrambling and climbing and hiking too. So.
But when you are running, when you're focused on a race that has runnable aspects, you do.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think people think when they think of Anton Krupicka, it's just all, you know, scrambling up and down and like. Well, like, there are races that you have to train for running.
Oh yeah, I mean, almost every North American race first off, and everyone talks about, oh, this is a sky race here in La Palma, and it's a lot of running, you know. It's a lot of very smooth trail and gradual climb. Although, you know, the climb will be a little kicked, you know, little short pitches that are steeper, and it's an 8,000-foot climb too. But yeah, you have to be. It's very much a running race,
especially with some of the competition that you're going to be facing. I mean,
yeah.
What are your thoughts on how Sage will perform here, at least on the uphill side of it?
Oh, on the uphill side, he'll be. I fully expect him to be there at Roque, you know, at 35 miles or whatever, 50K. Because it's just not, again, it's just this very smooth track, and it's kind of there probably won't be a whole lot of hiking there. You know, you'll hike little stretches here and there, but, you know, pretty much runnable all the way. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's really run a race like this before, though, where, I mean, basically you get to the top of the mountain, and then you have to do like the Pikes Peak Marathon descent, you know, and then finish with another 1,000-foot climb to the finish. And then everyone talks about, well, the last 5K are on roads, and it just doesn't matter at the end of a 5K. It's pure strength. There's no leg speed is out the window there. You know, last year Dakota won the race hiking away from Andy there. You know, like, so better be able to hike, I guess. You know, like, and hard. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think it's probably the first ultra he's done that breaks sort of that North American mold of run every single step. I mean, Sonoma's like carpet and just bop up and down all day, you know.
U-Rock.
Yeah, U-Rock, exactly. It was just like almost on the road, and I mean all that stuff. So, yeah, but I think, I mean, he's obviously going to do really well.
Yeah, I mean, aside from him, there's just, in my mind at least, there's a more dynamic field here, and just so many variables and wild cards. Being early season, you know, most of the racers here are from North America or Europe, so they're coming out of skimo season for a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you were just in the press conference there, and they had, you know, Killian, myself, Luis Hernando, and Tim up there. I mean, there's so many other dudes that should have been like sitting at the table there, and I mean, I especially think, you know, obviously Sage, but no one's really talking about Adam Campbell, and that dude's really fit, and he knows how to run hard, and he'll be up there for sure. And then Luis Hernando, like, I doubt anyone in the States even knows him, but he's a total badass.
He's been in the Olympics.
Yeah, he's been in the Olympics in the biathlon.
Got a little bit of a cardio engine there.
Yeah, he has, well, I think in 2010 or 2011 he won the World Skyrunning title. And, you know, last year he pushed Killian all day as a Gamma. Like, he's super strong. And, so he'll be up there too, because I think he's been training. You know, he's not taking it lightly. It's his first ultra.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, how do you think it plays out with, like, skimo? Those guys have been racing all winter, whereas you haven't raced since
falls. Yeah.
I mean, is there yin and yang to that?
But, you know, skimo is just so different that there's no pounding. It's like, I think maybe there's maybe an emotional fatigue or, like, you know, mental fatigue, but I don't know. I mean, Killian's last race was last weekend, and I think he was a little sick for it or something too. It didn't go too great, but yeah, I don't know. I can't race that often, just like emotionally, but that's me.
Yeah, so you don't think there's anything with not being really sharp mentally?
A little bit maybe. I mean, it's, I don't know. Like, I don't do training races. You know, like over the past month, I did like 3 long runs and you know, one down the Grand Canyon. By no means race intensity, but like the effort I put in there would have won most low-key 50 miles across the country, you know, and the same with like the long run I did the next weekend too, you know. It's just, I just know that if I get in a race, I'm going to go really hard, and it's going to send me back more and so I don't know. I just saved the racing efforts for real races, I guess.
Speaking of that long run at the Grand Canyon, you did rim to rim to rim, and second fastest time, I believe, ever.
I think I just snuck under Dave's.
Pretty close.
Yeah, he was like a couple seconds under 7 hours, and I was like 40 seconds under 7 hours. So,
but one of 3 people to go under 7 hours.
Sure, yeah, and again, you know, it's an FKT deal. It's not racing,
but it's
you know, no one's ever gone
for April. That's a pretty good. Was it a good gauge for your fitness, do you think?
No, totally. It was definitely a confidence boost for me because, you know, it was one of those things like, oh, I'll see how I'm feeling. And I got down to the river in the morning. And I was like, well, that was a quicker split than I expected. So I'll just kind of like keep, you know, going steady and see how it shakes out. And then for a while on the way back, you know, you're coming back down to Phantom Ranch. Joe and his uncle were doing a double crossing, and I crossed them around Cottonwood Camp or whatever, and I was out of it. So I like stopped and chatted with them for a minute or two, and like I'd given up on like trying to go fast anymore. But I started climbing out of the canyon, and I was feeling good again, and then I blew up the last 3,000 feet like usual,
as probably most everyone.
Yeah,
does.
yeah. So I mean, I was happy to sneak under 7 hours.
Yeah. Earlier this winter, or in the winter, you got caught in an avalanche. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. That was just probably just didn't read the conditions right on the mountain. There hadn't been really a ton of new snow or anything, but it was abnormally warm. And I did a different route on the mountain that took a little longer to get to the summit, so it was a little later in the morning then. By the time I was descending.
Was this on Longs?
Longs Peak, yeah. By the time I was descending, and so there was this wet slide, and it was just, I don't know, it happens, I guess, and I feel like I learned some things from it, like go as early as possible in the morning and that sort of thing. And I mean, I have training in Avalanche, snowpack stability and that kind of thing. But you know, it's always, there's little pockets and mountains are unpredictable.
There's risk inherent.
There's always risk, yeah, and you have to just decide like what you're comfortable taking on, you know. So.
Yeah. And has that changed your risk equation a little bit?
Well, that day, I think it's made me a little more gun shy, just of snowpack for sure, because I was not really expecting that day, and so by the time I get back to Colorado after this race, things will feel stabilized a fair bit and start getting up in the high mountains. But yeah, I mean, that was the only ascent of longs I got in April then. Well, because it started snowing a ton too, and I was just like, I wasn't going to mess with it.
Yeah, you went out another day and turned around, right?
Well, that had nothing to do with snow. That was just the conditions.
Cold.
It was just absurdly windy up there. Like, I mean, longs gets like this jet stream that comes over it, and you just can't stand. It's nuts. But yeah.
Well, it's good to have you back out here on La Palma and racing, and it should be an exciting weekend. And I think a lot of people will be excited to see you.
Yeah, I'm excited to see
race healthy this year.
Oh yeah. I hope to have a full season, you know, and really hit some good races. And I'm as interested as anyone else to see how the race plays out on Saturday. It's a lot of different factors. So.
Cool, man. Great talking to you.
Yeah, you too, Ryan.